Welcome back to FM Coins, the place where hidden treasures, forgotten history, and unbelievable rare coin secrets come to life. Today, you're not just watching another video. You're stepping into a world where a simple 25-cent Washington quarter dollar can be worth more than a luxury sports car, more than a brand new house, even more than some people earn in a lifetime. Imagine this for a moment. You reach into your pocket, pull out a quarter, and without realizing it, you might be holding a piece of American history worth hundreds of thousands, or even millions. Most people spend these coins every single day, never stopping to wonder what mysteries they carry. But collectors, experts, and treasure hunters know one truth. Washington quarters are full of secrets. Some of these coins were created by rare mistakes at the U.S. Mint. Tiny errors that resulted in ultra-valuable masterpieces. Others come from years where only a few were struck, or where a slight design change turned them into legendary collector's items. These are coins that auction houses fight for, investors chase, and collectors dream of finding just once in their lifetime. In today's video, we are unlocking the stories behind the most valuable and ultra-rare Washington quarter dollars ever. Discovered coins with shocking values that reach deep into the millions. These aren't just coins. These are time capsules, historical accidents, and beautifully rare creations hiding in plain sight. So get ready, because by the end of this video, every time a quarter lands in your hand, you'll look at it differently. You'll check the date, the errors, and the hidden signs, because the next multi-million-dollar coin might already be with you right now. Let's begin the hunt for the rarest Washington quarter dollars worth millions. Now we will talk about the first coin on our list. And this coin is not just rare, it is a mystery, a mistake, a miracle of the mint. The 1965 Washington quarter is the kind of treasure that proves one powerful truth. Sometimes the most ordinary-looking coin carries the biggest secret. Picture the United States Mint in 1965. The country was in the middle of a financial panic. Silver prices were rising fast. People were hoarding every silver coin they could find, and the government was desperate to stop the shortage. To fix this crisis, the mint decided to completely remove silver from the quarter, switching from 90% silver planchets to the new copper-nickel-clad metal. Because of the rush, the pressure, and the massive change happening inside the mint, something unbelievable occurred. A small handful of 1964 silver blanks accidentally got mixed into the bins of new clad blanks, and without anyone noticing, the mint struck a tiny number of 1965 dated quarters on pure silver planchets. These were never meant to be released. They weren't part of any special set. They weren't approved or recorded. They slipped into circulation silently like ghosts, hiding among millions of ordinary 25-cent coins. For decades, nobody knew they existed. People spent them in shops, used them on buses, played them in arcade machines, completely unaware they were holding one of the rarest modern U.S. coins ever created. And then one day, collectors discovered the truth. The 1965 silver quarter instantly became a legend. Only a few examples have ever been confirmed. Some experts believe fewer than 20 to 30 genuine silver 1965 quarters exist. Some believe even less. This makes it rarer than many famous coins like the 1916 D, Mercury dime, or the 1909 SVDB cent. And when these silver planche 1965 quarters appear at auction, the prices are absolutely shocking. A heavily circulated example, worn, scratched, used, sold for over $7,000. A better condition piece stunned bidders at $25,000. Another example, preserved far better, crossed $50,000. Experts estimate that if a high-grade, untouched silver 1965 quarter ever appears, it could easily bring $250,000 to $500,000. Some numismatists even predict that a flawless specimen, if one exists, could push near the $1 million mark, making it one of the most valuable Washington quarters ever discovered. Just imagine that. A coin you could find in loose change. A coin that looks exactly like every other quarter. A coin from a year considered common, boring, and ordinary, holding a value greater than a luxury car, greater than a brand new house, greater than a lifetime of savings for many people. What makes the 1965 quarter even more special is the thrill of the hunt. Anyone can check their change. Anyone might find one. It's the coin that makes collectors check every quarter they see, that makes people weigh their pocket change, that has created thousands of treasure hunters around the world.
Now we move to the next coin on our list.
And this one is another extraordinary piece of rare American history. The 1974 Washington quarter. At first glance, it looks completely normal. Just like any other quarter from the 1970s, it has George Washington on the front, the eagle on the back, the same diameter, the same color, the same shine. But hidden behind this ordinary appearance lies a rarity so shocking that it has stunned collectors again and again. The story of the 1974 quarter begins during a very experimental era at the U.S. Mint. In the early 1970s, America was facing rising metal costs, inflation, and pressure to keep producing billions of coins. At the same time, the mint was constantly testing new metals, trying different planchets, and experimenting with future designs. And in the middle of this period of experimentation, something unusual happened. A tiny number of 1974 Washington quarters were mistakenly struck on 40% silver. Planchets, the same type of silver used for Eisenhower, dollars and special bicentennial pieces. These silver planchets were not meant for quarters. They should never have been in the quarter presses. But by accident, a few slipped in, and the mint struck 1974 dated silver Washington quarters. These are not regular clad quarters. These are not common strikes. These are rare minting errors worth a fortune. Because they were never officially released and were not part of any coin set, these silver 1974 quarters entered circulation quietly, just like ordinary change. Most people spent them without knowing. Most shopkeepers accepted them without noticing. And for decades, nobody realized how special they were until collectors discovered the metal difference. Once authenticated, the value exploded. A silver 1974 quarter is one of the most thrilling discoveries a collector can make. Its rarity is so extreme that very few confirmed examples exist, and whenever one appears at a major auction, the bidding war is intense. Here are the shocking prices these rare coins have fetched. See a silver 1974 quarter in average condition has sold for $10,000 to $15,000. While the better preserved example crossed $20,000 to $30,000. A high-grade specimen with strong strike and clean surfaces has reached $40,000 to $60,000. And experts believe that an exceptional, flawless example, if ever found, might push well beyond $100,000 and possibly approach $250,000. Just think about that. A coin from 1974 that you could easily overlook. A coin you might receive as change for a snack or a bus ticket. A coin that people have spent every day for decades. Could actually be worth more than a brand new luxury SUV, more than a full year's salary, even more than some gold bars. Collectors today check every 1974 quarter carefully, looking for the brighter edge, the heavier weight, the special silver ring in the metal, because the next life-changing discovery might be in a handful of pocket change. Next on our list is the 1982 D Washington quarter, a coin that at first glance might seem ordinary, but in reality it is one of the most intriguing and sought-after modern quarters in the collector's world. While billions of quarters were minted in 1982 at the Denver Mint, the story of the 1982 D quarter proves that rarity and value are not always about age or precious metals. They can come from survival, condition, and minting anomalies. The year 1982 was a challenging time for the U.S. Mint. The country's demand for quarters was enormous, and the Mint was producing billions of coins. Most 1982 D quarters were released directly into circulation. They were spent, handled, pocketed, and heavily worn over time. Unlike coins in mint sets or proofs, there were very few preserved in uncirculated condition. This means that today finding a high-grade, pristine 1982 D quarter is exceptionally rare, and collectors will go to great lengths to track one down. But what makes the 1982 D quarter truly legendary is the possibility of minting errors. Some coins were struck slightly off-center. Some show weak strikes, die cracks, or other subtle anomalies. Even small variations can create massive value differences among collectors. When one of these rare minting errors appears on a 1982 D quarter, it becomes an instant sensation in the numismatic world. The market values for this coin are staggering. Or a high-grade 1982 D quarter in MS-65 condition can sell for $500 to $1,000, far above face value. Sharper, cleaner MS-66 examples have been known to fetch $2,000 to $4,000 at auction. Rare mint error 1982 D quarters, such as off-center strikes or planchet anomalies, can command anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000, depending on the severity and rarity of the error. The finest known examples, perfectly preserved in MS-67 or higher, could sell for $20,000 or more, making it one of the most valuable modern Washington quarters. Collectors today treat every 1982D quarter with extreme care and scrutiny. They weigh them, check the metal composition, inspect the edges, and examine the striking quality. Even a slight imperfection can indicate an error or a particularly rare specimen. Despite being a modern coin, the 1982D Washington quarter has become a legendary collectible, sought after for its rarity, high-grade survival, and occasional minting anomalies. What makes this coin truly exciting is the thrill of discovery. Imagine sorting through old coin rolls, drawers, or jars, and finding a 1982D quarter that is perfectly preserved or displays a rare minting error. That coin could instantly be worth thousands, completely transforming the life of the lucky finder. The 1982D Washington quarter teaches a key lesson in coin collecting. Treasure can hide in the most ordinary places, and value is determined by rarity, condition, and survival, not just age or metal content. Even modern coins from the 1980s can hold incredible worth. Now we come to another extraordinary coin on our list, the 1982 Washington quarter. At first glance, it might look like just an ordinary piece of pocket change, but for serious collectors, it is one of the most fascinating and sought-after modern quarters ever struck. This is a coin that proves that true value is not just about age, metal content, or fancy designs. It's about rarity, survival, and the story behind it. The story of the 1982 quarter begins during a turbulent time at the United States Mint. The early 80s were marked by rising coin demand, heavy circulation, and a focus on producing enormous quantities of quarters for everyday use. Mint sets, the carefully packaged collector sets, were limited, meaning most coins from 1982 entered circulation immediately. Almost every 1982p Washington quarter was spent, worn down, scratched, or damaged in daily use. This meant that finding a pristine, uncirculated 1982 quarter is extremely rare, even though millions were minted. But rarity alone is not what makes this coin legendary. Some 1982 quarters also carry minting anomalies. Collectors have documented off-center strikes, double dies, weak strikes, and occasional planchet issues. These unusual variations are extremely scarce, and when they appear in high-grade condition, they become some of the most valuable modern quarters in the hobby. The market for these coins is staggering when you look at actual auction results. A high-grade 1982p quarter in MS65 condition typically sells for $500 to $1,000 already, far above its face value. Coins in MS66 condition, with sharp details and minimal wear, have sold for $3,000 to $5,000. Rare error coins from this year, such as off-center strikes or wrong planchets, have reached anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000, depending on the error and condition, at the finest perfectly preserved. Daily Dupi, quarter, or one with an extraordinary mint error, could command $25,000 or more at a major auction, shocking even experienced collectors. What makes the 1982 Washington quarter so compelling is the thrill of discovery. A coin that might have been sitting in a jar, forgotten for decades, could be a hidden treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. Imagine finding one in old rolls of change, inherited coin collections, or even in a pocket from years ago. What seems like an ordinary quarter could instantly become a life-changing collectible. Collectors today approach 1982p quarters with extreme care. They weigh them, examine their edges, test for striking anomalies, and scrutinize every detail under magnification. Even though it is a modern coin, it has become legendary for its rarity, survival rate, and potential value. The 1982 Washington quarter is proof that in coin collecting, the most valuable treasures often come from unexpected places. It shows us that modern coins can hold secrets just as exciting as coins from the 1800s or early 1900s. Survival, scarcity, and condition. These are the true measures of value. Now we move to another shocking treasure, a coin from a year that most people completely ignore, the 1983p Washington quarter is one of those coins that proves that you don't always need silver, gold, or old dates to hold massive value. Sometimes a modern-looking clad coin becomes legendary simply because of rarity, history, and extreme collector demand. The story of the 1983p quarter begins during a year that was chaotic for collectors. In 1982 and 1983, the U.S. Mint stopped making mint sets, those specially packaged sets collectors rely on for high-grade coins. This single decision changed everything. It meant that most 1983 coins, including the quarter, only entered circulation through normal channels. No protected packaging, no preserved condition, no collector-grade stock. Almost every 1983 P quarter produced was spent, used, scratched, worn, and tossed into circulation immediately. This made one thing happen. High-grade 1983 P Washington quarters became unbelievably rare, not because few were produced, but because almost none survived in pristine condition. But that's not the only reason this coin became famous. Something even stranger happened. During 1983, some quarters produced at the Philadelphia Mint suffered from striking issues and planchet weakness, making strong, clean, sharply detailed examples extremely difficult to find. On top of that, a small number of genuine off-center errors, die cracks and wrong planchet errors, from this year have become some of the most sought-after modern errors in the hobby. And when one of these coins reaches a truly exceptional grade, the prices explode. Here are the shocking real-world values. A regular 1983 P quarter in high mint state condition, MS66, sells for $1,000 to $2,000, an extremely rare. MS67 example has sold for $10,000 to $15,000. A 1983 P quarter with a dramatic mint error, off-center, or incorrect planchet can reach $5,000 to $20,000 depending on severity. While in the finest known example, graded MS67 Plus shocked collectors by bringing nearly $40,000 at auction. Think about that for a moment. A coin with no silver, no gold, no special mark, no fancy variety. Just a normal-looking 1983 quarter. Worth more than a motorcycle, more than a small car, more than what many people earn in months. Why? Because high-grade 1983 P quarters are nearly impossible to find. Because their history, no mint sets, heavy circulation, weak strikes, makes pristine survivors almost mythical. And because collectors today understand that true rarity is not only about age, it's about survival. Even today, 1983 P quarters are being checked under microscopes, graded, studied, hunted, and purchased by serious numismatists who know exactly how tough they are to find. The possibility of discovering an uncirculated example in old rolls, jars, or inherited collections still excites the coin world. Next, we move to another remarkable modern treasure, the 1984 Washington quarter. At first glance, it might look like an ordinary coin, the kind most people spend without a second thought. But for collectors, this coin has become an extremely valuable and highly sought-after piece, especially in uncirculated high-grade condition. The story behind it proves that even modern quarters can hide fortunes in plain sight. The early 1980s were a busy and chaotic time at the U.S. Mint. Billions of quarters were being produced to meet growing demand, while the Mint was still experimenting with strikes and planchets to improve production. Most 1984 P quarters entered circulation immediately. They were spent, handled, and circulated heavily. Mint sets were still relatively limited, so few pristine examples were preserved. Over time, this has made high-grade 1984 P quarters extremely rare and highly coveted by collectors. But scarcity alone does not explain the coin's fame. Some 1984 P quarters also carry rare minting anomalies. A few were struck slightly off-center, some had weak strikes, and very rarely, a quarter was struck on the wrong planchet, a mistake that instantly turns a modern coin into a treasure. These errors are so rare that when one appears at auction, it can cause an intense bidding war, sometimes lasting hours, with collectors from around the world competing to own it. Now let's look at the jaw-dropping values these coins can fetch today. On a standard 1984 P quarter in high grade, MS65 condition can sell for $400 to $1,000, which is already far above its face value. A sharper, cleaner MS66 example has been known to reach $2,000 to $4,000 at auction. Rare mint error coins like off-center strikes or planchet mistakes have sold for anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000, depending on the severity of the error and the coin's condition. The absolute finest examples, perfectly preserved with a flawless strike and eye appeal, have sold for $20,000 or more, sometimes shocking even veteran collectors. What makes the 1984 P quarter even more fascinating is the thrill of discovery. A coin that most people consider worthless, just pocket change, can actually be a rare, highly valuable collectible. The idea that a life-changing coin could be hiding in a drawer, a jar, or a roll of quarters adds excitement and mystery to the hobby. Collectors today treat every 1984 P quarter with extreme care. They examine weight, metal composition, striking quality, and eye appeal. Even small variations can make a massive difference in value. While the coin is modern, its rarity, survival rate, and occasional mint errors make it a legendary piece in the world of Washington quarters. The 1984 P Washington quarter proves a powerful lesson. Treasure isn't always ancient. Sometimes it's modern, subtle, and hiding in plain sight. What looks ordinary to most people, a quarter from 1984 can actually be worth thousands of dollars, waiting for the keen eye of a collector. Next, we move to another modern treasure, the 1993 Washington quarter. At first glance, it might seem like just another everyday coin from the 1990s. But for collectors, it represents a hidden gem, a coin that proves value and rarity are not always about age or silver content. They're about survival, condition, and minting anomalies. The early 1990s were a busy and critical period. For the United States, mint, billions of coins were being struck each year to meet the growing demands of a changing economy, and production ran at maximum capacity. With so many coins in circulation, it might seem impossible for a modern coin like the 1993 P quarter to be rare. But that is exactly what makes it special. Most 1993 P quarters entered circulation immediately. They were spent, handled, pocketed, and eventually worn down by everyday use. Mint sets were limited, so few pristine examples exist today. Over the decades, this has created an extremely small pool of high-grade coins, making uncirculated 1993 P quarters highly desirable to collectors. But rarity alone does not tell the full story. The 1993 P quarter also features rare, minting anomalies that can turn a seemingly ordinary coin into a fortune. Some of these coins were struck slightly off-center. Some have faint doubled dies, and others were struck on unintended or experimental planchets. These subtle errors are extremely scarce and immediately attract attention when discovered, turning a standard coin into a modern collector's dream. The market values for these coins are as dramatic as their story. A standard high-grade 1993 P quarter in MS65 condition can sell for $400 to $900, already far above its face value. A sharper, cleaner MS66 example can reach $2,000 to $3,500. Rare mint error quarters from 1993 P, such as off-center strikes or planchet anomalies, have sold for anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000, depending on the severity of the error and the coin's overall condition. And the absolute finest examples, perfectly preserved, flawless, and possibly with a dramatic mint error, can fetch $20,000 or more, shocking even veteran collectors. The excitement surrounding the 93p quarter comes not only from its value, but from the thrill of discovery. A coin that might be sitting unnoticed in a coin jar, an old roll, or a forgotten drawer could be worth thousands of dollars, completely changing the fortune of the person who finds it. That possibility is what keeps collectors constantly checking, weighing, and examining every 1993 P quarter they come across. Even in a modern era where coins are mass-produced, the 1993 P Washington quarter shows that treasure still exists in everyday life. Its rarity, high-grade survival rate, and occasional minting anomalies make it one of the most exciting coins for collectors. This coin proves a critical lesson in coin collecting. Value is not always about history or age. It's about scarcity, survival, and the hidden story behind the minting process. Now we move to the next ultra-rare treasure on our list, a coin from the 1990s that shocks collectors every time it appears. This is the 1997 P Washington quarter, and while most people think modern quarters are all common and worthless, this particular year and mint mark hide one of the most astonishing minting mistakes of the decade. The 1990s were a strange time at the U.S. Mint. Billions of coins were being produced rapidly. New technologies were being tested, and machines were running at full speed to supply America with enough circulating currency. And whenever production is pushed to the limit, rare and dramatic errors can slip through unnoticed. That's exactly what happened in 1997 at the Philadelphia Mint. Among the hundreds of millions of regular clad quarters, a tiny number of 1997 P quarters were accidentally struck on wrong planchets that were never meant for Washington quarters. Some were reportedly struck on 5-cent nickel planchets, making them smaller and lighter. Others were struck on foreign planchets used for coins of other countries, produced at the U.S. Mint. And a very tiny handful are believed to have been struck on experimental planchets that the Mint was quietly testing during that time. These ultra-rare 1997 P error quarters are so unusual that when one shows up, it instantly becomes the center of attention. They have differences that only sharp collectors notice. They may weigh less than a normal quarter. Their edges might look different. Their color might be slightly off. Their strike may appear unusually sharp or unusually weak. and sometimes the diameter itself is smaller because of the wrong metal blank. These oddities are not damage. They are mint mistakes, and mint mistakes like these can turn a simple modern quarter into a massively valuable collectible. Now let's talk about the shocking value these errors have reached. A 1997p quarter struck on a smaller foreign planchet sold for over $3,000. Another example on a different wrong planchet crossed. $5,000 at auction. A high-grade 1997p quarter struck on a nickel planchet amazed collectors by reaching 10,000 plus. Ultra-rare experimental planchet errors, if verified today, could easily bring $15,000, $20,000, even $30,000 depending on grade and rarity. And here's the unbelievable part. Experts believe there are still undiscovered 1997p error quarters out there, coins hiding an old coin. Jars, cash drawers, pocket change, or mixed in with other modern quarters. Because these errors are not obvious to the untrained eye, they may go unnoticed for decades. Imagine holding a simple quarter from 1997, a year billions were made, and finding out yours is a rare mint error worth thousands of dollars. That is the magic and mystery of this coin. Collectors around the world keep checking their 1997p quarters because every now and then, one of these mistakes surfaces and shocks the entire numismatic community with its value. And there you have it. Collectors, a journey through some of the most valuable and ultra-rare Washington quarters ever struck. Coins that can literally be worth thousands, tens of thousands, and even hundreds of thousands of dollars. From the legendary 1965 silver quarter to the modern-day marvels like the 1997p and 1993p errors, each coin tells its own story of minting mistakes, survival against the odds, and hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. These coins are more than just metal. They are pieces of history, frozen in time, carrying secrets that only collectors can unlock. A coin that looks ordinary in your pocket or a roll of change might just be the one that changes everything. Your collection, your luck, even your life. Whether it's the rarity of high grade, 1982 and 1984 quarters, the dramatic mint errors of 1997, or the almost mythical survival of coins from the 1960s, these Washington quarters prove one thing: treasure can hide anywhere. And fortune favors those who look closely, study carefully, and never overlook the details. So the next time you handle a quarter, take a closer look. Inspect the mint mark, feel its weight, and check its edges. Because the next ultra-rare, life-changing coin could be right under your nose. Thank you for joining us on this exciting journey through some of the most valuable Washington quarters ever minted. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss another treasure from FM Coins. Remember, in the world of coin collecting, every coin has a story, and every story could be worth millions.